the first step was understanding our compass, our emotional compass. EQ helps us, our path to EQ. We need to figure out our compass, which is the EQ framework. And now the second step is to map our emotional territory. That is now we're going to delve into self-awareness and self-management. Just as a pilot needs to understand weather patterns to navigate with the EQ model safely, we need to understand our emotional patterns to navigate our lives with clarity and intention. Emotions are powerful, eh? They shape how we experience life. They influence our decision-making, whether we like it or not. It's happening. So let us become aware of it, because otherwise we're just unaware being dictated by our emotions. And emotions impact our relationships. As Maya Angelou said, people may forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's true, eh? Emotions are not just abstract experiences. They are deeply rooted in our biology. They are chemical and hormonal reactions in the brain that serve as a bridge between our thoughts and our behavioral responses. Between our thoughts and our behaviors is our emotions. The more we understand and regulate this emotional part of ourselves, the better we can grasp the thinking behind it or our responses, allowing us to make wiser and more intentional choices and behavior in life. Neuroscience reveals that emotions are closely linked to the brain's limbic system, the emotional headquarters, if you want to call it, in our brain, which processes and responds to stimuli, things that comes through our five senses. Okay, the eyes pick up, the skin feels something, picks up, the smell picks up. So often, and the hearing picks up. So often, before our conscious mind can even evaluate what's going on, there's our amygdala wanting to respond to a threat. So this means that our emotions often influence our thinking before we even are aware of what is really happening for us. So by learning to regulate our emotional responses, just stepping back, taking a deep breath, okay, in the moment. But then also, when we're calm and not triggered, journal on past experiences. And we're going to have some nice activities, life map and all those kind of things that you can map up your life and understand big emotions for yourself. So by learning to regulate our emotional responses, we can interrupt that automatic reactions in the brain, okay, the amygdala hijack, giving us the power to choose more thoughtful, deliberate responses instead of just acting on that impulse. When we fail to understand our emotions, so if we don't care and we don't put in effort, we will feel overwhelmed, anxious, or stuck because we can't move forward. Okay, we need to access our emotions to make sense of what we're thinking, to help us navigate what we're thinking, so that we can understand where does that thinking come from. So, however, recognizing how we feel and why helps us stay grounded and empowered. It reminds us that we have the ability to shape our responses, make deliberate choices, and prepare for challenges with clarity and confidence. Okay, even if we know something very challenging is coming up on Friday evening, I can prepare myself and remind myself, speak my affirmations over myself. So as Romans in the Bible reminds us that we need to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. This means questioning and reshaping our thoughts and the reasons that we feel the way we do, to align them with the truth of who we are, fostering emotional growth that leads to more balanced, purposeful living. By mapping our emotional territory, we equip ourselves to respond wisely in any situation, ensuring that our emotional intelligence serves as a powerful ally in every aspect of our journey. So here is the emotion mapping activity. This is how you can map your emotions. Okay? And we are going to take this activity forward to our following tools in the following sessions. So keep it handy. The first thing to do is to identify what emotions you feel using the feelings wheel. We will check out that now. Then secondly, we want to reflect on what triggered that emotion. Think about what happened or what you saw that made you feel that way and ask, what about that makes me feel this? And then thirdly, to recognize what you need or needed or what you're missing that's making you feel this way. And we'll use a tool, needs inventory, to help you. And then fourthly, observe how you now react. It gives you an insight into your coping mechanisms. And then consider healthier responses. And this will also come with later sessions. We'll have tools to help you consider healthier responses from your truth. Okay. But your affirmations can also assist already with that to help you understand how to respond healthier. Okay, so identify, reflect, recognize, observe, and consider. So let's start with identify what emotions you feel, and we're going to use the emotions wheel. There are many on the internet. I like this one. It's colorful. It's pretty. The first step to closely examine our emotions is to understand, what am I actually feeling? Go plot it, go search it. And there's a variety of intensities and complexities. Because understanding these emotions in this way helps simplify complex emotions, helps you simplify. Oh, it's not as overwhelming. I'm feeling angry because the taxi driver drove in front of me, and it's actually because I feel a righteous thing, or I feel that I don't matter, or I feel dismissed, or rejected, and that takes me to, where does that come from? Okay, we'll get there. And then, because it helps us identify personal patterns also. Okay, that's important. So when we start map our emotions and how we feel often in situations, we start seeing patterns, like weather patterns. Emotions can combine and intensify. And understanding these patterns helps you predict and prepare for emotional storms in your life, okay? So you can be wise with yourself and help yourself, okay, in situations. And you can know how intense something is, then you know how intense you need to perhaps remove yourself from a situation as to not react there, okay? And then thirdly, understanding your emotions like this helps build trust and openness in relationships. Why? Because you can share what you are actually feeling in conversation, and that deepens and brings about vulnerability, and it makes people trust and connects with you and makes them open up, and the relationship can deepen. And then fourthly, why it's important to understand our feelings is to empower ourselves to manage them effectively. You cannot manage with what you're not aware of, okay? The second step in the emotion mapping activity. First one was to identify what I'm actually feeling. Then secondly is to reflect on that triggered emotion, to reflect on what I'm actually feeling. Understand what triggered the emotion in the moment. Think about what happened or what you saw that led you to this feeling. Think about it. Visualize the experience like a slow motion movie. Visualize the moment when the emotion arose and allow yourself to explore why that emotion emerged in that situation. Ask yourself, what about this situation made me feel X or this way? It's a visualize activity. So here's an example of somebody that is nervous before a social event, okay? So they can identify, okay, I'm nervous and a little anxious, and now with this step, they can reflect on what about this social event is making me nervous or anxious. This nervousness may stem from, so for example, they can start thinking nervousness may stem from anticipating the event and then confirming the fear upon arrival, seeing unfamiliar faces or even familiar ones, but feeling pressure to engage. And perhaps you're expected to share something, yet you don't know what to say because you've had an exhausting or difficult day and don't feel like discussing anything beyond what you're currently experiencing. And recognizing these triggers help you understand your emotions with greater clarity, and you can have empathy with the fact that you feel nervous because you don't want to put yourself out there. Now, okay. Then our third step, so we're taking it small steps at a time. Don't jump the gun now. Slowly, one step at a time. Now that we've identified, we've reflected on why we feel that way. Now we want to recognize the unmet needs beyond it. It's like echoes of the past. Okay, it helps us understand where does this come from. So understand what might have preceded the triggered emotion. This means identifying what we need or what we're lacking that's causing us to feel in this way. More often than not, the trigger and the unmet need stem from childhood or past negative experiences. What went unmet then is still going unmet now in similar situations today. So if you see a situation and it makes your brain, your amygdala, think of a previous negative experience, guess what? It's going to fear that unmet need again. Okay, for example, let me show you by example. Feeling nervous before the social event might stem from a fear of judgment or the pressure to perform perfectly in order to get what? Others' approval, and that to feel good enough. Here, the unmet need possibly are the fear of loss of security. So unmet need of security, no trust, no security, no approval. And as childhood, didn't get the approval, the trust, or the security that you needed to feel worthy, good enough, or safe. As that was what happened somewhere in the past, especially childhood. Therefore, identifying and naming these feelings makes them easier to manage and understand what need went unmet. And it allows us to extend compassion to ourselves rather than being overly critical. Oh, just get over it now. Okay. Don't talk to yourself like you would tenderly to a friend. Okay? And then fourthly, in our emotional mapping activity, we've identified, we've reflected, we've recognized the unmet need. Now we want to observe, how do we actually react? What would you do or how you act after feeling this way? This person feeling nervous, let's go with the same example, before social events may act in ways that reflect their underlying insecurity or need for approval. And here are some possible reactive behaviors, and they might include. I'm not going to read all of it. It is in your session notes, so if you're interested, go read through them, scan through them. So like, for instance, the person now responds with overthinking or over-preparing. They may spend excessive time worrying about how they will be perceived. So planning everything they're going to say or do, often to the point of exhaustion or frustration. And this might stem from a desire to appear flawless or in control so that they can be accepted and feel worthy, okay? It's all behind those things deep down. Or avoidance, or people-pleasing. They may go out of their way to make others happy in that social setting or avoid conflict, often sacrificing their own needs or their own preferences or opinion. And this might include agreeing with others, even if they don't truly feel that way, just to be liked or accepted. And the heartache of that is that you're rejecting yourself and portraying something that you're actually not. And yes, that might get you indirectly accepted or a sense of belonging for that moment, and that might falsely make you feel good enough or worthy, because you're actually just worthy because of who you are, not because of what others include you in or not. But the thing is that what's actually worse, if you do get accepted or loved because you're now pleasing somebody, it's unhealthy, it's manipulation. But now you're doing that. Now you're getting loved for something you're putting on. And again, it's indirect, deep rejection of who you truly are. So somewhere deep down, it says, you can't be yourself, because then you're not pleasing, and then they're not going to like you like this. So who you are is not acceptable. You need to be this persona. Guys, so observing how you react then after your triggered emotion is a good awareness, because you see your coping mechanisms. So go and read in the notes. There's many more: overcompensating, fidgeting, nervous habits, seeking validation in all you do and say, or overly self-conscious, being, these behaviors stem from a fear of judgment or a lack of confidence in themselves. Building emotional intelligence, particularly the areas of self-awareness and self-compassion, will help this person manage their reactions and develop more authentic interactions from who they are, without feeling the constant need for approval or perfection. Okay. And then the final one is, and that adds to the cognitive restructuring session that we're going to cover. And it's to consider healthier responses, from reframing and healing the negative irrational patterns that we found into who I am, healthy, truth-based, I'm worthy already as I am. And from there, I want to respond healthier in situations. And I want to be able to, when I get into situations, pause, step back, and choose my response. No, I'm not going that negative way. I'm going the healthy way, and I respond from who I am. Okay. So if how you're acting isn't helping, think about changing how you think about things and heal from past experiences. This can have a profound impact on your ability to manage your nervousness and build confidence. So here's how these shifts can happen with reframing negative beliefs. That's the one thing I was talking about a lot. So instead of thinking I need to be perfect for others to accept me, you can begin to reframe this thought into something more empowering, like, I can be myself and that's enough. Let them perceive what they need to. I cannot control their perceptions, only my responses and own behavior. I can only control that. Behave from who you are, not from what the situation makes you. This shift in mindset helps break the cycle of seeking external validation and creates a healthier, more self-compassionate approach to social situations. The other one is healing from past experiences. We're going to touch on that as well. It's developing self-compassion. Changing the way you think involves practicing self-compassion rather than self-criticism. When you make a mistake or feel awkward, instead of judging yourself harshly, gently remind yourself that everyone has moments of discomfort. Healing from past experiences can also involve forgiving yourself for mistakes you've made and letting go of the self-imposed pressure to be perfect. Okay. Forgiveness is quite a journey on its own as well, that one needs to speak over yourself or over the person you're wanting to forgive, continuously speaking it over, that name and what they made you feel. And then, and how to consider responses, healthier responses, is to challenge fear-based thinking. Shifting from a fear-based mindset to a growth mindset is key. Instead of fearing judgment, you can reframe social situations as opportunities for learning and growth. By recognizing that it's okay to make mistakes, and not everything hinges on others' approval, you can begin to view social interactions with curiosity rather than anxiety. And then breaking the cycle of people-pleasing. If past experiences taught you that approval or acceptance was earned through people-pleasing, you can work on letting go of that habit. Empowering new beliefs, that's what we're wanting to step into. Changing thoughts around social situations from I don't belong to I'm worthy of connection and love just as I am. That can break barriers, okay? And we're going to look at that to embrace the new beliefs about who we are. And then building emotional resilience, getting a little bit more tougher, grittier. By shifting your thinking, you can strengthen your emotional resilience. Rather than reacting to social situations with anxiety, you begin to practice embracing discomfort and uncertainty as a way of life. It's just something that happens. Life is sometimes this uncomfortable and uncertain, and that's okay. I am still confident in who I am. I still love myself. I'm still sure that I will be okay. I will be okay eventually. I'll make it. I've made it before. Okay. It builds confidence and helps you trust yourself in social situations. So ultimately, changing how you think and healing from past experiences allow us to regain control over our emotional responses, replacing nervousness or whatever you're feeling with self-empowerment and leading to more positive, authentic interactions. Now it's your turn. So in your session notes, you can go over this activity. How do your emotional weather patterns influence your daily interactions and decisions? Go practice. Over the next few days, use the emotion mapping activity. Identify your emotions, reflect on what triggered them, what about the situation made you feel that way. Recognize any unmet needs that stems from childhood or past trauma, negative experiences. Observe how you will react and see your coping mechanisms, and consider healthier responses from who you are, not what the situation makes you. Okay. After practicing this, ask yourself, how have my emotions shaped my choices in life? And have I been reacting based on old patterns? And can I now learn to respond with greater emotional intelligence?